All right, thanks everybody for attending. Call to order the Camden R3 School District Board of Education meeting special session here in the Administration Boardroom at March 28th, 2023, 7:30 a.m. And we'll start with reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a motion to approve the March 28th special session.
So moved.
Second. All right, so next on the agenda, we have the district insurance information. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we've been just trying to look at the best possible insurance benefits for staff. We worked on salaries already. Insurance is kind of the next thing that we've talked about. Finance team has talked about it. So we've had Dr. Piper working like crazy to get other options to be considered. We've been working with Wall Street as well as some other providers and some consortiums. And so we don't have all that information yet, but I just wanted Dr. Piper to give you an update of where we're at. And then we kind of need to get from you guys, whether that's just you telling us today or via email, what information you would need to be able to make a decision about where we're going with our insurance April 11th. That's the next board meeting that we have. So go ahead, Dr. Piper.
So Wall Street was bought out by a company called AccuSure. There's a consortium of several schools, mostly in Southwest Missouri, called OSBA, and that was began by Capstone Insurers, which was Kevin Kruger out of Bolivar. They were also bought out by AccuSure. So Wall Street and this OSBA consortium kind of have allegiance now because they're under the same umbrella. So we've been offered a spot in the OSBA consortium if we want to go that route. There's another consortium in Southwest Missouri called the Show Me Consortium. It consists of about 25 schools. Lebanon just joined it. Bolivar just joined it. They are still in the underwriting process. They've had a little, obviously the OSBA consortium had easy access to our data through Wall Street. Show Me, we've had to request a lot of data, so it's just been a slower process. But they actually, I've been on texting with them this morning. They think they may have underwriting done as early as end of day today. So by April 11th, we should be able to make a recommendation. In the meantime, we would like to get out to the staff and talk about the possibilities. So, I mean, what we'd really like for you is what type of questions will we need to bring to the table to you April 11th for you to be able to make an informed decision. And if you can't, I know it's kind of spur of the moment. So if you think of those over the next few days, that's fine too. But we want to, we'd like to go wrap this up and move forward. Even the OSBA, if we go that route, budget-wise, you would actually see in the school budget a little more expense because so much of our health insurance is not in the budget. It's transferring money from your bank account to keep it going, if that makes sense. But that being said, even the OSBA offer will save the district over $500,000 a year. And like I say, you're not going to see all that $500,000 in the budget because you're just pulling it out of your kind of your savings account, so to speak, and sticking it in your checking account. But there's definitely, it's probably the direction we need to consider. Once again, we want to know what questions you guys would like answered, and you can make an informed decision on April 11th.
Yeah, I think as long as the coverage is comparable to at least we have or better, and that it's easier for the staff to make sure everybody that they're using is kind of in network for the majority of it.
Okay.
Just a less disruption of flow of medical claims, doctor's visits, and all that stuff.
And that has been our sticking point to this point,
We've
is
talked a lot about that.
make sure that our staff doesn't have disruption in their medical services. They get access to their same doctors. And, we're not interested in switching that up.
Prescriptions, things like that.
Yeah. And there will be some changes there, and there probably, there might be a reason why that needs to change with prescriptions specifically. We've had a lot of talk about that, and that is a concern for our staff and how that's going since the transition. And so we need to be mindful of that because our staff is concerned about the prescription situation and just more on the service side versus that. But yeah,
I'd like to know what's, there's always been talk around amongst the staff. It's not the best, and I'd like to know maybe what the concerns are. I don't know the specific details of what the major concerns.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly the concerns you're talking about, but what the few I've heard, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I think, in a way, people lose sight of insurance costs and insurance coverages, and what everybody, if you look at all other schools and what they're covering. And we've had a fairly rich plan in some areas, but then our plan's kind of weak in others. So, it's trying to find a balance there.
The goal when we, the goal when we
commented on high deductibles, well, we got a $1,500 deductible, and if you look, school education all across the state, a $1,500 deductible is about the lowest deductible you'll see in a board paid plan.
Yeah. So the goal is that we'll look at some other districts compared to us, the same ones we consider for a salary comparison. We'll look at it just so our staff knows, okay, by comparison, what we have is really good here, not so good here. And they'll know the specifics because everybody wants their insurance plan to be better, and it's just one of those things that over time has evolved to. It just has gotten really, really expensive, and we haven't seen a premium increase in 3 years, and I think that to keep our benefits as rich as they are and no premium increases, we might be the only entity I know of that has done that. So,
one part of our plan that was after we talked with the TAC obviously and you got their opinions on it, seemed to be our preventive maintenance. Our plan does not support in any way, shape, or form preventive maintenance, and almost every plan in the United States, with the exception of ours, supports that. I mean, that's where you find out where problems are at.
The blood screens and the tests like that, we don't. Yeah, some people have to pay for those out of pocket.
I think that's a huge point.
Yeah.
It's pay for physicals, things like that, blood checks.
Yeah, and like for blood work, one teacher was saying that it was $500 every time she goes.
You have to
$400 or
watch
$500.
You have to watch those physicals because they'll add something extra to it so they can bill you for the whole thing on your annual. I've had that happen a couple of times because we have to have it for our insurance. Thank you, municipal. But they'd say, look, well, we talked about diet and exercise, so it's an actual office visit, so the ability for the entire office visit, not the. So you almost have to be very specific when you go in there. Like, I'm just here for my annual visit and what it covers. Everything else is no. But is there a way to get a quick? Because not only we can hear from TAC, but we also cover all the maintenance, foods, all the other classified service. Is there a way to do a quick survey, just like what's working for you, what's not working for you? So, because I can only do it with the people that I talk to.
Yeah, I think we'll want to educate them about what other people like before we would do that survey, and I don't know how best to do that. But the goal was TAC does represent, and they can reach out to the certified, but we still have classified, and we also have some of the certified that may not be comfortable going through TAC. So our plan moving forward is to have the have maintenance custodial recommend people to be on there, and we have the CCEA that can overlook that to be on we go over the insurance review and then share out the information that they think is important to get out to the whole staff. We would try to do that, and that will be rushed before April 11th, but we can still try to get their feedback. So I think that's the goal. And then, I think a survey is possible if that group tells us, hey, this is what we really need. These are the questions we really need to ask about.
Obviously you'll have the individuals with their specific deals, but I'd be more concerned with what's the overall trend. We had 15% of people say that X is a problem. Well, that's probably something to look at then, not just one person that hates our insurance because of a personal thing that happened with them.
Yeah.
That's.
How do they handle unresolved or ongoing claims when you move to?
There's a 3-month buyout to finish those, and that'll go through MedPay, and we'll have to have, so that sum of money that we have in there, have to eat some of that.
Would we have that dollar figure before next week?
They haven't estimated one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't estimated one. There's a guaranteed $40,000, that's just administrative fee to the TPA, and then the rest is an estimate. And they told me that it's a high estimate, you know, in other words, it shouldn't cost that much, but the whole dollar figure is, close to $2 million. It's the estimate. That's actually coming under that, but then when you look at it, we've been, you know, pumping $1 million in there every year. Yeah, it's a costly buyout.
But that's not a guaranteed cost.
Right.
That's like, in the meantime, they don't know about some major thing happens that they have to keep covered for the next 3 months and give you really expensive work. If that doesn't happen, you don't have to pay near that much. So it's not a set rate, it's, you know. Any other questions or thoughts on that? Okay.
I'll agree with that. Thank you. All right, so we move on to budget amendments. You, Dr. Becker, you want to talk about
Do
any
you
of
have
these?
any questions?
I think we're pumping about another $100,000 into career ladder due to increase in participation.
Well, it's increased
Overall.
participation, but it's actually overall, it's less than what was budgeted. So the budget amendment really just matches up with the 60-40 split from DESI on the revenue and expenses side. And so this is based on the participation of our eligible employees for career ladder on the state system. And so you'll also see a revenue that's been added into, probably not on the budget amendment.
Yeah, it's in there.
But you'll also see the revenues that will be generated because of the state career ladder.
There was increased participation, but the revenue more than covered that.
One thing I have on there was that there's a bunch on there, it looks like salaries and other duties on there for expenses. I was just curious.
Where at?
Page 10, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
What, under what, what,
At the top of it says career ladder.
Okay,
It's kind of the same thing I
more-
was looking at.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ESER 2 ones.
No.
There were,
that is ESER 2, all those salaries would be your 4 after-school program schools that don't have the 21st century grant. That's how they're paying for those.
That's lead teacher salaries.
okay,
Yeah.
and this is just supposed to be the time it all comes
There
out.
was, yeah, there was in the budget that was approved, the only expenses that were budgeted was half of the director's salary. So all the site coordinator, all the teachers, none of those, their expenses were budgeted. So we're just sticking those in.
Hey, will you explain to me on the capital project funds, the current budget was 800, and then we reduced it down to 102. He says to make revenue accounts accurate.
Oh, yes, but also in ESER 2, Erica we had 2 HVAC projects we stuck in there too, so it wasn't all the after-school program.
Yeah, well, I thought that it was, a lot of it was after-school stuff,
Yeah.
but my thing on it is
Sorry.
my
I
wife's
told you it was
involved in
all- it
that,
was all
and I
after
can't
school
vote
stuff.
on it, and my wife's involved in on it, so I was just making
It's
sure
really
that
like
I.
either,
Sorry, Jacob, I didn't want to correct you before that. What was your question?
1 second, Gail.
it's just a lot, like somebody's clicking their pen, can I stop? It's like taking over the video.
Oh.
That was probably me.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay,
Jacob.
I just, hear anything. That's okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
The capital projects went from 800 to 102. It says making revenue accounts more accurate.
Where you at? Which one?
Oh, Lord, it's page 13 under 2020. I guess it's ESER 2 funds.
ESER 2, CARES ESER 2, and it's the last column there. The last entry, it's not the last row, but it's the last entry.
It's on 13 of the 17.
What are your numbers?
800,000, 697, 261, and 57 cents was the difference in the amount, and then the final working budget was $102,738.43. You see that?
What are you talking about?
Got you.
It's a big one.
And Eric, I think even though your wife is in a program, I think a budget amendment to change the budget isn't necessarily directly paying her. I don't know if you would have to abstain. You can, I'm just saying, I don't know if you have to.
Yeah, whether I have to or not, I am going to, so since we got enough people.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you, because that number's not chiming into what I. Yeah, that doesn't look right.
No, it's just, it is a large
Yeah,
difference.
that doesn't look right. Let's pull that out. I'm gonna take let's look at that. That doesn't, that may be a typo. Pass those over and have them typed up.
What number are you?
Let's pull that one out.
Page 13, it's the last item on page 13. Capital Projects Fund.
I'm still not finding that one.
So, and then you see on the next page is the revenue for,
So you're under ESER two?
Yeah.
The CARES ESER two?
Right, it's the last page before you start doing career line of revenue stuff.
You're on page before the one we just looked at? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's pull that one out. I want that. I think that's a typo.
Just that one line.
I'd have to pull out that whole group. I want to dig back into that. I'm not seeing where she came up with that.
So is that a motion with the exception of
Yeah,
that
pull the ESER two one there.
ESER 2? Get some clarification on that.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to pull the ESER 2 out, for table it for later, and approve the rest of the budget amendments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Your colleague present.
You got something else?
Yeah, thanks, figured it out.
Oh, well, since we're here, let's go ahead and hit it real quick.
Okay. They had, I think that's the wrong code. I think we still need to pull it out. But they had budgeted $800,000 for the Century 21 grants. And we are not getting $800,000. But those numbers still aren't correct. But that's where that $800,000 come from. But the next number is not correct, so we still need to pull it out. We're only getting like $319,000 from Century 21. So we have to supplement them some ESER 2 money to make up the difference, but it's not even a complete 800,000. So we still need to pull that out and get that right. That's where that big number came from.
Do you need to go ahead and approve the rest of the ESER 2 stuff, with the exception of that
I would
one?
just, for the sake of ease, I would just pull the whole ESER 2 out, and
Okay.
fix those numbers, and we'll just drop it up the whole thing right.
That would be a couple times. We'll be
Oh, we did that, so.
That way we don't have.
Some of us will be back here in April.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's covered. All right, so we just do a board wrap-up for the open session. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Sir?
Move to executive session.
Last-
Oh, sorry.
Do you have something, Gail?
Last night, Brian and I sat on the TIF commission board for the super TIF, and Dr. Kersey was there. It was just an informational hearing, and then April 17th is when we have the official hearing, hearing, and then we would vote. So in between that time, we'll want to talk about, and I think we'll have a meeting, we'll want to talk about the direction we want to go. So let me know if you have any questions. Maybe you can talk to everyone individually, Dr. Kersey, maybe, and inform them. But they have not included any pilots, which would be payments in lieu of taxes. So I think we're gonna advocate for that in the meantime. And Jacob, I think, wouldn't sit on the, he couldn't make it last night, so Brian sat in for him. But I think Jacob will be there, at the April meeting, but it's kind of a big deal. Maybe I'll just send a board email with some notes for you guys to review, and then we can go from there. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks, Gail.
Okay.
All right.
Second.
There's the second. All in favor?
So this roll call.
Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.